such a simple gift for our hearts. I was 6 years old when I first got a violin put in my hands, thanks to my mom and my dad. And I had no idea at that time what a journey it would take me on, how much of the world I would get to see, and what I'd get to experience in my lifetime because I got to play music. But it's really the inner journey of music that I'd like to speak to you all today on, because that journey has changed my life. I believe that music and the vibration of sound has the power to connect us to our hearts and our mind and allow us to heal. And I believe that when we tell our stories through the lens of music by writing songs, we actually free ourselves from past trauma, past pain, and past suffering so that we can enjoy this human experience. You know what I mean? So, first I learned about this because I had to learn how to heal myself, but I didn't really know that's what was happening. I was like 25 years old, and I was driving down the road, and songs were coming through my window shield. I was hearing, "Babe, we're dead upon arrival. Can't you read my mind? You know my poker face has never been my best shot at survival. So I'll have my say, and then I'll walk away." I was telling the band that I'd been playing with that I needed to leave in order to find my true self. I kept driving down the road, and then I heard, "I hope she makes it up to you for the things I'll never do." It shocked me because I was wishing a new lover to the man I needed to leave in order to find my true self. The songs themselves were my teachers. They were premonitions of what I needed to do in my life in order to be my fullest self. It was crazy. So I did. I walked away and I broke up. And I had experienced the deepest heartache that I had ever experienced. And I went on a really deep self-exploration journey. I went all over the world. I traveled with different musicians and played. Here's a picture of me playing in India to a village, a rural village, just playing music. And I got back to Austin, Texas, where I'm from, and I went to my first Global Youth Peace Summit. And the Global Youth Peace Summit is put on by a foundation in Austin called the Amala Foundation, and it unites, you can see here, teenagers from all around the world. And it's the vision of this woman. Her name is Vanessa Stone, and she's a deep teacher of mine. And her vision was to bring together teenagers from all around the world so they could experience self-expression, learning each other's cultures, creating of art, playing in the rain, and finding true inner peace. It was at my first summit that I really experienced watching others come out of their trauma, and when they were coming out of their trauma, I literally heard them writing songs and writing poems like I had never heard before in my life, the words of truth from the mouths of babes. It was profound. So I went up to the director of the foundation and I said, "Oh my gosh, it would be so amazing if we could create a program where they could actually record these songs they're writing so that the world can hear the words of truth from the mouths of babes." And he said, "We've been trying to do that for 7 years, but we've always done it at the summit, and we tried to squeeze in recording music in this process." And I said, "No, the music requires its own space, its own time for creation." So we created a week-long program that happens right after the summit, and it's called the One Village Music Project. So when I was at the One Village Music Project the next year, I was sitting with this lady, this young woman from Rwanda named Eileen Berabosa. And she was very closed. I think this is a picture of the day I met her, in fact. She was deep inside, if you know what I mean by that. Her body posture was hovered over, and she didn't have much to say, but I could tell she had something to say at the same time. So I sat with her for about 3 hours one afternoon, and we got into it, and she finally told me that she was representing the Rwanda genocide, that she had the blood inside her of both Hutu and Tutsi tribes. I don't know if you know anything about the Rwandan genocide, but if you do, then you know that the Hutu tribal government was actually slaughtering the Tutsi tribes, and I realized this is a song. Will you play that song? This song is what came out of the Global Youth Peace Summit's One Village Music Project. And this is the story of Eileen, who has both the Hutu and the Tutsi tribe inside her, and reflects her story of change. Just listen to just a little bit of her story here.
I was born from the changes that now we're free.
That's right.
To my homeland, a runner, where people can see. I was born in the days of genocide's end. Rebirth of the people, where newness began. The face of a revolution, the space for the heart of confusion. Lend me your ear and I give you a hand.
Not your fault, whatever you caught in. Cut your net to get what you brought in.
Sing your voice to your picture of choice.
So you can hear the joy in that song. It was so inspiring to write a joyful song about such a profoundly, deeply sad experience that she was going through, but she thought of it as a revolution, and that now she represents the new face of Rwanda. She got back to Rwanda after that trip, and it was immediately apparent to me that her life had completely changed. She started going to college immediately, and she put this on her Facebook page. It says, "I was born." That's the name of the song that we wrote. She has now come together with two of the other youth that were at the Global Youth Peace Summit and written and become the African Dream Movement, where now she's actually creating a space for youth in Africa to learn about tribalism and face their own pains within that. So she's become a leader in her community. It's amazing to see Eileen and what she's done with her life. So after that program, I'd like to introduce you to my sister here. My sister Stephanie Hunt actually became my partner in all this. That was her voice singing with mine on that recording as a backup. We were supporting Eileen together, and we thought, this program is really powerful. I wonder if there's a way for us to bring this kind of program to other people who have experienced deep trauma and suffering in their lives. So we thought, who better to serve than war veterans? And we approached my friend. Well, we started a nonprofit called Fuel Our Fire, which is actually a way so that we can create these programs in the world. We did all the work it takes to do that, and then we started working with war veterans through our friend Dustin Welch, who had started a program called Soldier Songs and Voices. And Soldier Songs and Voices has weekly songwriting groups where they work with veterans, and we said, hey, Dustin, what if we create a retreat setting where we can actually come together and go really deep with some of the veterans you've been working with? And he said, yes, I'm in all the way, let's do it. Our friend donated his TR ranch in Texas, and his father was a war veteran. He said, let's do it, I can't wait. And we started the Reveille Songwriting Retreat last year. And so we were sitting at the Reveille Songwriting Retreat in this circle, this opening circle of the entire experience. And directly following this circle that you see here, I sat with this young lady, Amberly Russell, who you look at her at first glance and you would never think she's a war veteran. But she definitely served her country, and what she told me about being a veteran or her experience is that she was one woman in about 200 men in her infantry division, and just what kind of experience she had with that. And my sister and I looked at her and said, well, why would you join the Army then? I mean, it sounds like a really hard thing to do. And she said, you know what? Well, this is what she said. This is the story of Amberly Russell.
Singing with my sister, Mama, he's crazy, then go to sleep. I heard wide open spaces in 98, it made me leave. I grew up in a trailer in the middle of a wheat field, in the middle of nowhere, a Texas town. But that lifestyle wasn't right for me, so I spread my wings and I was westward bound. Brother on the backfields
brought me home. I remember when we were kids, we used to sing, digging up bones. I grew up in a trailer in the middle of a wheat field, in the middle of nowhere, a Texas town. But that lifestyle wasn't right for me, so I spread my wings and I was eastward bound. Ba-da-dum-ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum-ba, da-da-dum-da-dum, da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum-da-dum, da-dum-dum. Signed up for the army to pay for college and do what's right. Saw the towers falling, I heard my calling and went to fight. Now I'm stationed in a trailer in the middle of a compound, in the middle of nowhere, a border town. But this lifestyle isn't right for me, so I spread my wings. Now I'm homeward bound. It felt like magic had happened. That was the very first day of the retreat in the morning, very first thing we did, and we didn't know what was going to happen the rest of the week, but the next morning I woke up and I sat with this man, Bobby Henline, who actually, I walked into the breakfast table at the retreat and he was sitting on the couch, hovered over his journal, writing like frantically. He had just been cracked open and he said, I got it. I got the story of my burn. If you look at Bobby Henline, you'll see 40% of his body is covered in burn. He was in an IED explosion in Iraq. And, well, I won't tell you his story because we wrote it in this song. It's called Not a Day Goes By. We lined up the vehicles, getting ready for war, just like we'd done 1,000 times before. We talked about the mission and what could go wrong, how no matter what would happen, we would stay Army strong. And we checked our equipment, inspected our gear, bowed down our heads, the chaplain led a prayer. I took the lead as we rolled out the gate. Just another day, no way of knowing our fate. Not a day goes by, I don't fight the battle in my mind. And through my eyes, the truth in every tear I cry. And I know I cry, God knows I cry. The bomb was big and the noise was loud. Med evacuated from a dusty cloud. I prayed that God would come and set me free. The bomb took 4 and only left me, but they were my angels, my guiding lights, reassuring me everything was gonna be alright. Not a day goes by, I don't fight the battle in my mind. And through my eyes, the truth in every tear I cry. No, not a day goes by, I don't fight the battle in my mind. The war is over, but the battle's still in my mind. is over and I didn't die, but not a day goes by, not a day goes by. So today, on Veterans Day, we honor those who have fought for our freedoms in this country. And we recognize that being part of war and being in that traumatic experience actually is very different than the picture that we civilians paint. And it's actually very hard to know exactly what someone who's been through an experience like that is actually feeling. But so Bobby Henline, I'd like to honor him one more time. He's an incredible human being. He actually travels around the entire country as a comedian. He's one of the most healed internally people that I've ever met, because he actually shares his story all the time, and he's free to speak about it, and he feels that this is his life's work now, to do this, to go out and share the story of his life. And he's a comedian. He's the funniest guy, one of the funniest guys I've ever met. He made fun of himself, like he's missing an arm, and someone will be like, "You need a hand with that?" You know, he's just, so it was incredible to write that song with him, because he hadn't ever been able to tell that story. And one of the coolest things I think about both Amberly's song and about Bobby's song is that they are both stories that are deeply personal to themselves, but yet they both have a quality about them that pretty much anyone in the entire world can relate with. With Amberly, the story of needing to get out of a socioeconomic status that you'd been raised in, and now exploring yourself, traveling the world, and coming back, and she is now getting her second master's degree, and she wants to serve her community. She wants to be a director at a library. She's charged up with the way that she can continue serving. And Bobby, we all fight battles in our mind every day. You know, not a day goes by I don't fight the battle in my mind. I wasn't in war, but I have them. And you don't have to be a war veteran or a war refugee like Eileen, or heartbroken like I was. We all face human suffering. It's a universal thing. And what I'd like to invite you all to do is, the next time you're thinking about your own pain, your own trauma, you might get a tinge in your throat, or that feeling of anxiety in your stomach, or just some kind of shake that numbs you from being able to take whatever the next step is in your life. I just invite you all to hum into yourself, hum into your own story. Grab a piece of paper and a pen. See if writing it out helps. See if a melody comes to it. And I just think, and I really truly believe, that music has the power to heal human suffering if we allow ourselves the time it takes to just sit with ourselves through our own pain. So thank you all for your time today, and have a wonderful day.